So good morning, everyone, and welcome, as I was saying, to this third QA clinic for Substance Organization Referentials Management Services at EMA. I am Caterina Scarpati, and I am covering the change management activities for these services. And today with me, I have Deborah Martins Braga, Jaume Gonzalez, and Pedro Batista, who are respectively the product owners for organization, referentials, and substance management services. And they will be here today to answer live your questions on these services. So as usual, some housekeeping notes before we start. So please note that this session is being recorded, and the recording will be made available on EMA corporate website and EMA YouTube channel. During the meeting, you will be able to ask your questions via the audience interaction tool Slido. And as I was mentioning earlier, to access Slido, you can go to slido.com and enter the code SORQA1011, or you can just scan the QR code that you find here on this slide. In Slido, you can send and upvote the questions you want to hear answered. I will share my screen to show the questions live. And EMA colleagues here will verbally address the top voted questions. So please make sure before you type your question to see if someone has already answered a similar question, so you can just upvote that question instead of writing a new one. Just a recap of the scope of this session. In this session, we will address only questions on the following topics. So the scope is OMS, RMS, and SMS, and if applicable, some sport general questions, while 4 questions that are related to PMS and XCV-MPD, dedicated live Q&A sessions are available. And here's a recap of all the next scheduled Q&A clinics. So the next clinic on SOR is scheduled on the 15th of December. And you can register via EMA website with a WebEx link. Same for Q&A clinics on PMS and XCV-MPD. These are always scheduled on the same day, and the next appointments are on the 18th of November and 18th of December. However, please rest assured that since we saw that this year's these monthly appointments were quite useful to you, we will release new dates for 2026 soon. We will, of course, publish these on the EMA website and also promote them via our usual channels, which may be the PMS news page on the PLM portal, the PLM newsletter, and other relevant fora. Then we have also recently announced the next date for the next SPOR and XCV-MPD quarterly status update webinar, which will take place on the 28th of January, as usual, from 10 to 12:30 in the morning. And the registration is available on EMA website on the dedicated page. So this time, from now on, you will need to register also for this webinar. Then just a reminder that the SPOR and XCV-MPD satisfaction survey is available on Slido. It will stay available until the 8th of March, when we'll have a pause of 1 month, and then we'll launch a new one during the April SPOR status update webinar. So this survey is continuously open. You can find the link is always available on the SPOR webpage on the EMA website. Okay, so time to start with our questions. The first one is for OMS. Our organization will rename and move to another site. Will org ID remain the same? Only loc ID will be changed?
It will depend. I cannot tell you without seeing the National Business Registry. So it all depends how the data will be changing in the National Business Registry. If you're doing a simple name update and you retain the same business registry number, then the work ID will remain the same and the log ID also. If there is a creation of a new entity, meaning a new National Business Registry number will be created, then it means a new work ID and a new log ID.
Okay, thank you. RMS for Jaume. Why are in RMS list shown here, a national classification list, almost all entries have only an ATC code, for example, GO2CH2O. In XCV-MPD, for the same code, there is a description as shown here.
Okay, yeah. Good morning, everyone. So in RMS, we have the national classification list. The main purpose for this list was to be able to capture all of those codes that look like ATC codes, basically, but they're not officially approved codes by WHO. So, and this, by the way, was needed for allowing the synchronization between XCV-MPD and RMS to prepare the work for PMS implementation. Now, for that specific purpose, for synchronization purposes, it was concluded that the code only was basically the only part that was needed for this synchronization. So that's the reason why. So in principle, we just have the codes to allow for this synchronization. And if additional information is needed, that should be obtained from the XCV-MPD. So I hope this addresses the concern. Otherwise, just let me know.
Okay, thank you. For OMS, can an organization remain active without QPPV if all the products have been invalidated in XCV-MPD?
So the status of an organization in OMS will not be dictated by existence of QPPV or the existence of a valid product. Remember that the status of OMS is dictated by its status in the National Business Registry. So if the legal entity is still active in the National Business Registry in OMS, the status will reflect the same. And we will only be able to deactivate an organization in OMS once this ceases to exist in the National Business Registry. Once there's proof that this organization is no longer active.
Authorized pharmaceutical form. In PMS, some products show coated granules, other coated granules in sachet. We suppose that the second form is the result of a new mapping with a combined term, but it's not the same for all. Why? Is it applicable also to one of your domains, or is it more PMS?
It's slightly linked to RMS as well.
Okay.
So pharmaceutical dose forms, it's an EDQM list. So it's referentials. We also have those lists in RMS. Now, as to why some products refer to one term and why others refer to the other one, I'm not too sure. What's for sure is the authorized terms by EDQM should be used. So products ideally should be referring to approved standard terms by EDQM, and I would have to check if the two are. I would suggest perhaps that this person submits a question through service desk to the attention of the RMS team, maybe providing more details on this, and we will be happy to check and see how we can help with this.
Thank you. For SMS, is it recommended to update the substances in XCV-MPD to have SVG flag 1 in place of flag 0?
Good morning, everyone. Yes, that is correct. So if a substance is marked as a duplicate, then it will get SVG flag 0, and in the comments, which are visible in the export and also in XCV-MPD, there will be a replacement substance ID. So both the SMS ID and the EV code of the replacement substance will be there. So if your product is using a substance with SVG flag 0, then you should refer to the substance with SVG flag 1. At some point, we will nullify all the substances that have SVG flag 0. This is a very complex exercise because it requires all the products and procedures to be relinked to the replacement substance. So that's why we have not done this exercise yet. But for your own products, if you do see that you are using a SVG flag 0, then you should replace it with the substance that have SVG flag 1.
Thank you. For SMS, national translations of mapped substances, which of the translations should be used in national SNPCs? Would it be possible to flag preferred national translations?
So translations in SMS are just names in languages that are not English or Latin that might be used in the context of medicines regulation. So it does not mean that the name in SMS needs to be used in an SNPC. And at the moment, that is not possible to flag because there's many different translations in the same language. There's different member states using the same language. And also the translations have not yet been cleansed for most of the languages. So at the moment, these substance names in SMS should not be considered in that way.
Thank you. Again, for SMS, some terms do not have a name source, but under the current list. How are these verified?
Yes, so the data field name source is mandatory for all the names in English or Latin. If a name is in any other language, then there won't be a name source.
Again, SMS, if I have to update a substance in order to be aligned as flag 1, do I have also to update my dossier and my product leaflets?
Again, this is not mandatory, also because substance names, preferred terms in SMS change over time. So it is not required to update documentation to align with SMS. The request is to align the substance record in your product with the one with SVG flag 1. So it should have the correct ID, not necessarily matching the same name, because substances have many names. They are all correct, but only one can be considered the preferred term in SMS.
Okay, thank you. When flagging 1 or 0 activity will be finished, made available by the SVG, this is not available for all of our product substances at the moment. So
the data cleansing is ongoing. So SMS has around 70,000 substances. They are all being reviewed, but it's a very extensive number of records. It's a very complex exercise. Some substances are much more complex than others. We are currently about halfway. So there's still a lot of work to be done, and there's no timeline for completion.
Thank you. How can an MAH request for an SMS active substance to change the preferred term via ServiceNow?
All substance requests from all stakeholders, marketing authorization holders, sponsors, NCAs, are to be submitted via ServiceNow.
Thank you. For RMS, what are confidential terms in RMS lists used for, and should they arrive to national databases through SPOR API?
So just as a reminder, confidential terms or confidential lists are basically lists that are visible only to EMA, and they are not visible to NCAs or industry or the general public. There may be two reasons for a term being confidential. One is that it may contain confidential information, or the list itself is considered confidential, or there may be like property rights linked to it. The second reason is that it might be lists for internal use that are, purely for the use of EMA, which are not needed for external people. So that's why we might want to hide them through making them confidential. Now, should they arrive to national databases through the SPOR API? I think that's a decision that each consumer needs to do. In principle, if the list is confidential, there's no need for it. But yeah, if there's any specific questions on any specific list, please let us know. But as a general rule, if the list is confidential, it's because it's not expected to be used by people external from EMA.
Thank you. SMS, is it possible to type all substances current in upper or lower case? Because SMS lists the substances are in both cases.
Okay. So before SMS,
in SMS lists, in SMS lists, the substances are in both cases.
Before SMS went live, substances were registered in XCV-MPD. So this was the primary system to manage substance records. And in XCV-MPD, by default, all substance names were automatically in uppercase. So it was a technology limitation. All the substance names were in uppercase. Then when we got SMS, all data from XCV-MPD was migrated to SMS. So all the substances that we got before 2019 were in uppercase, but we started registering the new substances in proper case. Now, as part of the cleansing of the legacy records, we are correcting the casing, so we are changing from uppercase to proper case. So that's why now you can see a mix of both, because it's in proper case for the substances created after 2019 or the substances that were already cleansed. And the ones that you see in uppercase are the ones that have not yet been cleansed. Once they are cleansed, they will be changed to proper case, and at some point, all the substance records will be in proper case.
Thank you. For SMS, is it planned to cleanse national translations somewhere in the future?
Yes. So at the moment, the priority is to cleanse the substance records themselves. So mainly focusing on the English names and data fields around the definition of the substance. But at some point, we would like to start also cleansing the national translations. Actually, this year, there was a data cleansing exercise done in cooperation with the Norwegian Medicines Agency. So for Norwegian, actually, all the translations are now cleansed, but this was an exercise with just one NCA. So there's still many languages, many NCAs to go. But this is definitely something that we are considering for the future.
Thank you. What are the advantages of using SPOR API over SPOR user interface?
I can provide, this is a very general probably more IT question, but let me try to provide some points, and in case you'd like to hear a little bit more about this, I would ask you to open a question in ServiceNow, and we'll try to put more with our IT colleagues to put a more comprehensive answer together. So from the top of my head, I would say the SPOR API, you can integrate with an internal system. You don't have to browse the data. Well, you need to do some queries to understand. They need more IT knowledge. Is not so user-friendly like the SPOR interface. It's more an IT. It involves a lot of coding. The SPOR, on the other hand, the SPOR Web UI, it's a more user-friendly feature. You can query, get a more user-friendly view of the data. At the moment, the SPOR API allows you to submit. There's a capability to submit change requests to OMS and RMS. On the other hand, the Web UI right now does not allow you this feature. So I think in a nutshell, these are some of the positives and negatives of each of them. And one must in the Web UI for OMS, you actually have an export of all active organizations for those that would like to have the data in an Excel view. I would say those are the points.
Thank you. For OMS, we will introduce a sub-office for batch release, which will not be mentioned in our National Business Registry entry. Which documentation should we submit with OMS CR in order to change requests in order to register this site as additional location? Org and LOC are situated in Germany.
For this case, if it's a sub-office or a second location of one legal entity, the correct way to do it is by submitting a new location change request with the details. If no other documentation exists, then a simple headed letter signed by the company with stating the name of the legal entity and the details of the location. If we're talking of a sub-office and not a new legal entity, we will not be able to create a new org ID. The only thing we will be able to do is to add the location details under the respective legal entity.
Thank you. Is it correct that a SPOR industry super user no longer has access to the SPOR user interface since only guest accounts are currently available? There is no login button available, and I no longer have the option to download a list via RMS or to view the history of an organization.
Correct. This was part of an integration and try to improve the user experience. So we move our change request feature into ServiceNow. We are working towards bringing back the export capability. So bear with us. We are aiming still in this quarter to allow any user to access the exports, both for RMS and OMS, of course, for RMS, with the exception of the confidential lists, those will have to be upon request via service desk. This is a capability that is coming, but as of today, if you need any export, please create a ServiceNow ticket, and we'll be happy to send this export to you until we have the definite solution.
Thank you. If we will use a gateway connector from our RIMS provider for submission of our data, do we need to be registered for SPOR API? Is it necessary?
Yes, it's necessary. If you need more information about how to get this access, all this is available in our portal, both RMS and OMS page. You have there the step-by-step on how to get this API access.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Could you please provide a guidance or FAQs on SPOR APIs and the queries required for its operation?
Again, information is available in both RMS and OMS portal. You have the step-by-step, and still, after you go through all the documentation available, if you still have any question, feel free to raise SPOR question in ServiceNow, and IT colleagues will help you.
Yeah, indeed. And I think in this documentation, you also have the presentation from the SPOR API webinar that was done in October 2024. And so you can also have a look at that recording. I think it's also a good suggestion. SMS, what will become of the vaccines? They are all inactive at the moment.
So in terms of vaccines, the veterinary vaccines, they have all been cleansed. So that exercise is considered complete. The human vaccines, they are progressing, but slowly. So we expect to resume and prioritize the cleansing of human vaccines next year.
Okay, thank you. RMS, as of 1st October 2025, this is not possible. It is not possible to export lists from this site, so from the SPOR portal. This will not be possible anymore, or this will be recovered in the future for those who can access these lists via their access.
So we are working on this now. We realize the inconvenience of not being able to export lists, users not being able to do that directly. Also, we realize there's quite a lot of demand on that. So we are already working on this, and the intention is to get this functionality up and running as soon as possible. We don't have any clear timelines, but hopefully this should be done within the next weeks or months. We're not sure, but we will provide an update as soon as possible.
Thank you. Again, RMS, can you clarify why terms that are present in more than one list are assigned to two separate terms IDs despite being identical? And here is an example.
So I would have to look at the details. The statuses are not provided here, but it would have been useful to see the actual statuses. I suspect that one of them is non-current, and it's probably in an extra list because those are probably terms that are referred to in products. And because they are referred to in products, they are needed in the list, not to block the synchronization between RMS and XCV-MPD. So the long story short, sometimes we have duplicates on purpose. Those duplicates should be as non-current, meaning their use is not recommended, but they had to be forced into RMS because otherwise the reporting of the product information would not be possible. Perhaps if the person could provide me with more details, we can look into this, but I suspect this is the case. So it was basically duplicated on purpose to avoid blocking the submission of the product information.
Okay, thank you. Will it be required to request for PMS API and SPOR API both separately, or can we get it in one single request?
They have to be done separately because you need to do different tests in terms of connectivity.
How to complete the manufacturers in the PMS? This information are not saved in XCVMPD, so they cannot be migrated. Is there a guideline for this completion? So I think this is quite PMS focused, right? So in general, you can I guess you can consult the PMS guidance documentation, which is fully available on the PMS webpage on EMA website, or also on the PMS guidance section on the PLM portal. Then, of course, if you have a more specific question, you can raise a ticket on ServiceNow or wait for next week when we will have the dedicated Q&A clinics for both PMS and XCVMPD. Okay, we don't have further questions at the moment, but okay. Then a question for both RMS and OMS. Will the change request option return?
Yeah, maybe you can take this one. There is no intention at the moment for these functionalities to return in the Spore Web UI. And the reason for that is process optimization. And because anyway, Service Desk is the natural place for submitting requests. So for the moment, and unless anything else changes, there is no plan for this to be reinstated in the Spore portal.
Thank you. We are unable to log into RMS. Could you please let us know when this issue will be resolved?
Yeah, so it's not an issue. It's the new way of working since 1st of October. A business decision was taken to remove the login functionality from the Spore portal. So now it can be browsed as guest only. And if you need to submit any change requests, so you can still search and browse for the data as you used to be able in the past, but change requests, for instance, or for exports, they need to be requested through Service Desk. There is a document which I believe is A6 under the document section of both RMS and OMS, and you can find more details on this new way of working and basically with step-by-step instructions on how to how to do things in the new way of working. So please consult that document for more details.
Thank you. Is my understanding correct that there should be more than one super user for Spore for each organization?
That's correct. This is our advice because for situations, and there are more often than we may think, for situations where one person leaves the company, then it means that there is no one available to approve any further roles. And in this sense, if you ensure that for your organization there is one, at least two super users in a situation like this, that something like this happen, you will ensure that there is always someone available to approve or to manage the affiliations to certain organizations. In this case, to your organization.
Thank you. How do we do bulk updating the master file location of multiple medicinal products? Is this related to any SOR service? Probably.
It's probably PMS, yeah?
PMS. Okay, so again, we invite you either to raise a ticket if it's something urgent. Otherwise, you can join next week's PMS Q&A clinic on the 18th. Okay, would only PMS API be required for linking to our RIN system for IDMP submission purpose, or both PMS and SPOR API are mandatory to be requested and linked with our RIN system?
I can probably answer in terms of the SPOR API. So the SPOR API is not mandatory to be linked in your RIN system. It will be a matter of how it's an internal decision. Do you want to use it? Do you have the necessary tools to use it? So in terms of SPOR, it's not mandatory. If you have this capability, probably it will be easier, yes. In terms of PMS, I think if you could place the question in the next week's Q&A.
Thank you. Do we need to make a bulk update in PMS in case of a change in QPPV, or is it an XVMPD update? So I guess this is again a question for next week.
Yeah. Actually, Caterina, on the previous question, which is also linked to the other question we had on updating doing a bulk update on locations for multiple products. I wrongly said PMS. It's actually XCVMPD. Yeah, just to make it clear. So it's for XCVMPD colleagues to look into this. Now, this question on the link, I tried to put it on the chat, but I think the chat is disabled. So perhaps
yes, and you can also reply, put it in a comment on, put a post on Slido.
Of course, we can put it in the Slido. Perfect. And I think they already did it. Fantastic. Okay, yeah. So we cannot put the link to the exact document because the documents, I think they are cached in the database, so there's no actually URL for the document. But if you navigate to the URL that has been provided, and then you just look for the A6 alternative access solution, which we will put in the reply as well. And that's it. Yeah, I'm just typing in now, alternative access solution. So you should have the full information now.
Okay. And the exact title of a document?
Yeah, we just wrote it in the reply. Okay. So you have two replies. One is the link, the other one is the document title. Perfect. Which is A6 Alternative Access Solution.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, the video of this session will be first available on YouTube, and then 1-2 days later, it should be available on the EMA website on the event page. Yeah. And it usually takes, according to, to the amount of work our audiovisual team has, it takes 1-2 weeks to publish on YouTube. Another question, if I want to download the pharmaceutical form or any other list from RMS, do I need to raise a ticket for that?
Yes, for the moment, that's how you need to do. You need to go to Service Desk and search for RMS, request RMS service, and basically provide details of what you need, and we will provide you with that. Hopefully, within the near future, users will be able to do the download themselves through the SPOR portal, but not for the moment. So please bear with us.
Thank you. Could you provide a link to instructions for requesting access to PMS API and SPOR API, please? Thank you. Okay, yes, for PMS API, you can. And actually also for SPOR, there's the guidance document, the guidance document for SPOR users. Anyway, I would suggest the SPOR user registration guide, if also colleagues agree.
For OMS, it's a different one, but it's in OMS, both OMS and RMS portal. you have at the bottom is the last documents of the document section.
Then, OMS, are there any plans to restore version history?
Yes, as we said, we are currently developing this capability to allow any user without login to see all the exports that we have there before with the login version. And as of today, if you need to access this data, it needs to be with a ticket, but we are planning in the next month or so to have this release into production.
Thank you. How many days after requesting the insertion of a new lock ID for a health authority does the new lock ID appear in the OMS?
So our service level agreements, they state that it's 5 working days. However, if the information, when you submit the change request with all the necessary information, it can be done before. But remember, you always need to account for these 5 working days period, if everything is provided correctly.
Thank you. Question for OMS. We had 2 lock ID for the same location, one with SEDEX and the other one without SEDEX. Today, all our marketing authorization applications are harmonized and contain only the address lock ID without SEDEX. We asked for the deletion of a lock ID with SEDEX, but this request has been rejected. How to keep clean data? How to do to keep clean data?
So deletion, it's impossible because in OMS, nothing is ever deleted. However, if you're no longer using this SEDEX location, the right way is to submit deactivate location change request. And you need, under the justification or under a document, you need to clearly state that this legal entity is no longer using SEDEX as a valid address. But deletion will never be possible. What we will do is, if you are able to submit this request, then we will proceed with deactivating the location, and the location will no longer be used in any consumer system.
Okay, thank you. Please, can you repeat where to find the Spore API guidance? Oh, sorry, but Deborah, you're muted.
Thank you. I will publish here the link in a comment, and Katarina, please don't delete it. Okay?
No, do not reply. Do not reply to the question.
I understand.
Just add a new. Yeah, so it stays. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. A last question for OMS. Could you please elaborate regulations for the marketing authorization that falls under UK?
That falls under UK. So it's not something that OMS dictates. It will depend on the system that you are using it. Probably I would ask you to reproduce this question in next week with XCV-NPD and PMS colleagues, and they will be able to provide you more information in this sense, because for OMS, there are no restrictions. However, for regulatory procedures, I understand that there are restrictions. And it's a question that you need to ask, basically procedure to procedure, for them to give you a specific guidance for these UK entities.
Okay, thank you very much. So I will stop sharing as our time is over for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. Thank you, Deborah, Pedro, and Jaume for replying to the questions. And see you again either at the PMS or XCVMPD clinics next week or next month on 15th of December for the next SOR clinic. And again, as I said at the beginning of the session, keep an eye on the EMA website because we will soon post the dates for the clinics, for the new monthly clinics series next year. And of course, as said, we will also promote via our usual channels. Thank you very much and have a nice rest of the week, everyone. Bye-bye.